Good evening. It's Joyful Christian Hermit. Well, I'm still not doing well, obviously, and I don't mean for this to be just so selfish and about me and oh, poor me and my not feeling well, but maybe it'll help some of you sort of the process I'm going through with this. So the oncologist, hematologist nurse called this morning a couple times, went over some of the more symptoms, and of course I slept last night, but then I coughed and coughed and coughed because my lungs I hadn't coughed during the night, but so she said gave some ideas about trying to eat more off and on during the day, little bits, little meals, she said. I couldn't begin to eat even one meal, but I did have an egg with an extra white, and it's just hard to stand even to cook anything. And then later did a fruit salad again. Not a big one this time. It causes me to cough and cough. And I didn't do before because I've just been coughing all day, trying to clear the lungs. It's taken all this time, and I still, if I would cough now, it would be all icky in there and coming out. But she was going to run it by Dr. Tella, but I don't think he thought, what could they do? Or I don't know. I mean, I would think they would have me get blood tests earlier, ahead of time. I could probably in fact, and I had to cancel my other medical appointments this week. Just too sick. They don't let me come. I was coughing and coughing when they even called to see if I could come or remind me of the time. And, but I can't. I have to go for my pump refill on Friday morning. No way out of it, because the alarm will go off on Monday. And I guess it gets dangerous then. So, and the doctor isn't even going to be here on Monday. He'll be at a different location, and they can't do the refill there because it's a procedure. It's an intricate procedure, and you have to be near a hospital. If something goes wrong, you have to they get you to a hospital. So, but this nice man around the corner, young man, he's going to take me. My family, I texted my family, and they were on a plane to Florida for a tournament. So does this is her work. And I knew she was going at some point. I've lost track of time. And so it was a rough day as far as all that coughing. But and there is a very reminder coin, a viewer coin sent, and I will talk about it separately. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't watch it to hear it because I was coughing so much. But I looked up the gist, the words of it, and it's Archbishop Fulton Sheen, and on the 3 words of love. And so Eros, Philio, and Agape. And so there's a YouTube video of him, of Archbishop Sheen talking about it. So I'm going to let you know about that in more detail. I'll post something with the information so you can go see it if you would like. It's always interesting. Love, agape is the love of God for us. Even if we seem unlovable or have been unloved, God loves us, and he loves us with agape love. And That's, an unconditional, deep love, irregardless of who and what we are. And it's the love of a parent for a child, hopefully. And sadly, that's not always the case in our time. But usually, at least any mother will have a love for her child, not her child. And fathers too, sometimes now though, the father will and the mother won't. Or the mother won't either. So we're in different times. And in dire times in a way, spiritually, for many people, many souls, unlike other times. So, philia, love. So, when we think of learning love, though, and God's love, we need to think in terms of learning agape love. And then philia love is the brotherly love, the love of others in general. And Eros is love of a particular person. So, but Archbishop Sheen goes into it in depth in the way that was known for. Very more dramatic and theatrical, and very good examples and entertaining. So I'll put that information out for you. And you can even look for it now. It's on YouTube. You just look up Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen, or even Archbishop Sheen, 3 Kinds of Love, and it'll bring up that YouTube video. And there's even some that get right down. You don't have to listen to the whole video. You can just get right to the 3 words of love. There's a video excerpt of it I found. But if you find the whole video, it starts around 17 minutes, his talk about these. So I want to thank you, Coin, for pointing this video out to us. And then back to the suffering part, because all of us will come to a time where we'll end up with a suffering that we're not overcoming, at least not as usual, and we won't know what's going on. And I don't think it's nutrition problem, but my weakness, of course, can be hindered by not having enough food. I can eat nuts, but see, the food makes me cough, except the nuts don't. So I had some unsalted nuts, nibbled on those, and the other 2 things. And then I had some beets I had roasted. I've lost track of time, and I realized they're way too old. They were refrigerated and they were roasted, but now I've got upset stomach, but nothing bad yet. But I'm also getting symptoms of a urinary tract infection, probably from too much antibiotic or something, just not being in good condition right now. And so I was thinking later today, I'd seen these 2 saints for today. St. Jane Valois of France. She died in 1502, around then, or 1505, in France. But what a beautiful soul. But she was actually royalty, but was set out, married someone. She was overlooked. The father wanted a son to take over the throne, so managed that, got a man to do that, but set her up in marriage, but to not someone who was very good, but he ended up being king. And then he She had saved his life earlier, but then the husband then turned on her when he was king and banished her. But it's how I'd mentioned the other day, how sometimes things of our childhood that we wanted to do, God will let us do later on. So she ended up starting a convent dedicated to the Virgin Mary. They meditated and tried to imitate the 10 virtues of the Virgin Mary, 10 identified virtues, and named it after the Virgin Mary. And the title of herself as superior, or whoever was going to be superior, is the French word for handmaid. So very humble, and she died doing what she had wanted to do as a little child. But her father wouldn't let her go into religious life. But he didn't want her in the queen either. Was gender biased against her, wanted a male king, felt that was better, even though she would have been outstanding, but it wasn't what she wanted to do anyway. But just how she got backstabbed by this man she was forced to marry, and was very good to him, very obedient, very submissive, and prayed for him, very devout, lovely wife. But she ended up being a most wonderful foundress of this convent, and did great good in her life. So it all turned out well for her. Anyway, despite all of the suffering she went through, terrible. Then there is this other saint for today, and he's was 17th century, I believe. Let me get to it here. St John de Britto, also of France. I had not heard of him, but he was noticed. He was born of noble parents, but he was noticed by the king in the court. Noticed what an outstanding little boy he was, humble, pious, but noble. And the king took an interest in him and had his own children too, but gave John position. But John became very ill, had this terrible illness, and he was very devout. He asked Saint Francis Xavier to heal him. And Saint Francis Xavier, he was deceased, and a saint then, but he miraculously healed this John de Britto. And so then he was able to live his life. He had a great devotion to John the Baptist, and he wanted to go serve. He became a priest and joined a religious order, but wanted to go serve. First he served in Portugal, but he wanted to go to the Indies to serve. And he ended up, his mother did not want him to go, did all her best to keep him because of the dangers. But he insisted, he was born to do this. This was his calling. And he had great courage. And his calling to save souls and to help people was far stronger than love of his own life. And he did end up then being exiled. He nearly was killed, beaten and nearly killed, but he was then exiled and recovered. But he ended up then being beheaded like his mentor John the Baptist, the one that he so admired, because he spurned a woman. A woman was angry and made claims against him to get back, to get even, because he was true to his vows. And so he was beheaded for that. And like John the Baptist was. Herodias was angry with John the Baptist. Slightly different setup, but still a woman wanting vindication and taking it out on a man. And both were beheaded. So I thought of all their sufferings, and but I got the idea, though, from St John de Britto, because he had asked to be healed of this illness when he was young. I'm not young at all. Then I noticed that the Mass Gospel for today is the one from Mark, in which Jesus tells the little girl, Talitha Koum. They thought, the parents, everyone thought she was dead. And he went, and she was a little 12-year-old girl, and he told her, little girl, arise. It's Talitha Koum. And she stood up and walked around and was fine. Okay. And all were amazed, Well, I thought, well, I'm not a little girl. I'm an old one, very old. And I've had time to consider today that, maybe I've not been doing what God's wanted me to do. Maybe he doesn't want me working on the house at all anymore. Not even to get rid of stuff or to clean up. I'm so wasted. I haven't been able to. I got the little fry pan cleaned after scrambling the egg, but I can't remember being this hamstrung, this weakened, and but I know I've lost a little weight, but I'm not. I don't think I drink this protein drink. At least, I get 30 grams of protein a day in that, and then the egg. And up until recently, I'd been putting cheese with the egg or other protein, and having other protein in the day, and eating the fruit salad, but it just makes me cough terribly. Now, just the fruit salad does. And I think it's so much citrus now that my stomach is affected. But I ate 2 older beets tonight. I didn't realize. I'd lost track of time. They'd been in the refrigerator at least 2 weeks in a container. And you're supposed to not eat after 5 days or so, or a week of roasted beets. So that's just, it's a strange thing. But I got this idea to ask a saint, maybe Jane de Valois, or maybe St John de Britto, to heal me of this sinus sickness that I've got, or whatever it's turning into. Then after reading the scripture, though, I thought, well, ask Jesus, have him tell me, rise up, get up, be healed. He could heal me of this sinus thing and the lung stuff. If he wants, I don't know. But I decided, so tonight I asked already, if you guys don't mind asking, I asked if there's some soul out there, holy soul, who would heal me of this portion. I said aloud that, I think I can go along with the arachnoiditis, increasing progressive suffering of that. I'm just having a hard time with this sinus, whatever it is, that's not getting better, getting worse. So a little bit it seems worse to me. So thought I'll see. Who knows? It's God can choose, and if He's going to let some holy soul, one of these saints, to heal me, I said, "Come in the night, if you will. Come in the night and heal me, so I can get up and start to improve again, and then deal with my arachnoiditis, with my bad neck and my bad spine, if God wants, if He wants. And it's okay if not. What I'm finding is just not expecting this, obviously, and not having it start getting better. That's what's got me confused, because when I texted the family member who's on the plane, she texted back, "I can't believe you're not better." And I wrote, I didn't say I'm worse. I don't want to affect the tournament, and it's already been a tough situation with things going on in that part of her world. So see what happens tonight. And I am trying. I did eat 4 different things today with difficulty. Well, it's hard to eat when I'm coughing nonstop. To try to chew and swallow when you have this strong reflex going on. But it simmered down tonight. I also remembered I have always been taking over-the-counter allergy pill. I don't have allergies. I was tested 2 or 3, maybe it's been 2 years ago, at least 2 winters ago, because I had a long bout. But I was getting a little better, but it wasn't leaving. And so I went to an ENT, and they gave me the prednisone, the Medrol dose pack, which kicked it out, but had me tested for allergies. And I had no allergies, but they said I have some kind of a very high sensitivity to particles in the air, in the environment. And just to take but I had run out of them right before I got this. About 7 weeks ago is when I ran out. And I wanted to get them at Costco when they were on sale. And then I got sick, and then I forgot all about it, being sick. So I got some on Amazon, so I took one tonight. But I don't think that would cause me to worsen or to feel like this. So, but maybe, who knows? So at least that I was reminded, the Holy Spirit brought it to mind, and I got that. But I thought it is something to consider, asking for a miraculous healing. And I sort of decided to leave it up to whoever might be interested out there. But I did ask if they'd let me know. I'd like to be able to thank them. Or if they want to tell me, or if Jesus would be willing to tell me that this is part of his plan of letting me be sick longer, or having this be part of my decline. And because I did think also, maybe God knows my arachnoiditis neck. The neck is going to get so bad, or my spine, that will be harder for me to contend with that pain. Then maybe he's going to let me leave sooner rather than endure all that suffering of the arachnoiditis as it progresses. But I have pain med for that and a pump, but still it gets rugged even with the pain meds, as I've said before. And I've been most fortunate there, because since I stayed so mobile, it didn't advance that fast. I could manage it pretty much. So, by the grace of God, obviously, and medications I was given. I have an excellent pain doctor. So, all of these are considerations when we're sick. There was John de Britto as a boy asking St. Francis Xavier, a saint of his time, that he knew of, asked him to heal him, and he did. So, I think we should try whatever. I'm not really getting anywhere with the medical unless it gets to the point where I need to go to the hospital. And this nurse did say that the hospital didn't even rule out the regular viruses. So I did order some free COVID tests. And she didn't think I had COVID, but said that they should have ruled that out and other viruses that are going around in the hospital when I went in a week ago. But I'll probably have to do something about the urinary tract that's starting in. That's going to be hard to sleep tonight because I'm getting the pulsating pains, So, but that's, I think, from too much antibiotic. I was wrong on that. But in the past, that's what would get rid of this. I took two. Two would take care of it usually. And when two didn't, and this GP had said, well, if I'd had this amoxicillin, it would have covered 100%. I thought, well, then let's do that and get rid of it. But it didn't. So that obviously wasn't. But it's a matter of reaching out for medical help. And we can't force people to help us when we want it. Or like the nebulizer, that would have been, I think, helpful, but maybe would have gotten rid of it. And after a while, if we keep pushing on doors and they don't open, what can you do? It'll have to get to the point that it will get enough worse that I'll have to be in the hospital and then get an IV or a blood transfusion or something. But it's not at that point. But getting hard to be here on my own, definitely. So Sean is courageous to take me Friday morning to the pain doctor to get the pump done. pump refilled. And the neighbor went to the grocery. I hope I have energy to, I can do it in stages, chop the vegetables and roast them. I roast them with olive oil. It's easier than I could get back in bed to rest and then get up and chop and do it in phases. But I am trying to push myself to, a little girl get up, Talitha Koum. I'll remember that. And I've asked Jesus too if he wants to come and do something with me. Old lady, get up. I don't know what that is in Aramaic, but anyway, it's an unknown for me, which I'm definitely telling myself not to let it get to me. That the unknown aspect of this, but I have a lot going on in here that I wasn't anticipating. Just having something happen that, but we never do. And I don't think we should live like that, with always thinking. Then we wouldn't try things, we wouldn't do things. But God does use physical things to move me to his will, because I'm not particularly astute in picking up on what he wants, or maybe not strong of will to do it. When he does, when I get hints, I don't think I have all that much in the past anyway. Even to change colleges, it should have been the first or second year I should have changed my undergrad college. Wasn't right for me. But I keep thinking I can stick it out. I can push through. I'll make it work. Don't be a quitter kind of person. That's upbringing a little bit. And it's not bad, but I haven't done the writing. Maybe God wants something other of me spiritually. Maybe he's trying to protect me from worse suffering, like the arachnoiditis. Who knows? We'll find out. And maybe I'll get better. Maybe this is just he wants it longer this time. Longer than ever. And different. Not going upward, but staying at this more downward slope. And I can, I'll have to interface with the GP if the UTI keeps going. I don't even remember what you get for that. Some other kind of medicine to help clear that, but I don't know if it's full blown. Who knows? It's hard with arachnoiditis because with all the coughing, my lumbar is my worst area as far as the arachnoiditis. My mid-back is the worst pain area because it's decomposing. The vertebrae are breaking down there. It's above the fusion. But it could be just arachnoiditis pain is pulsating too into my urinary tract area. So it's strange how sickness can disrupt, though, your regular life. Boom. Even just something silly like a sinus thing that gets into upper respiratory can do it. And then you're dealing with it. But never forget God. God is in the center of everything. He's the one that holds all the answers and holds the key. And he's the one that is driving the vehicle. You know, how fast we're going to go, whether we're going to go forward, whether we're going to stay, our battery go out. He leaves it out for a while. And so we're hindered. It's all up to God. And I'm trying to not be too curious. But a viewer wrote last night, and I agreed that I can't just languish here. I need to keep trying. I think God expects us to do that, while at the same time having full trust in Him. But do what we can temporally and reach out as best we can. So, and I'll work with the GP. He doesn't know me that well, and he has his own personality type. So, he has to learn that, I'm a patient that pretty much knows when I'm not well, I'll say so. And, when I call back, it means that I need help. I'm not a malingerer type. I'm not a pest type patient. I've seen him 3 times in it's been about a year now. And one time was I had some kind of a enforced Medicare exam. You had to go in and answer 7 questions and a bunch of malarkey, but I did it. It's one of the guidelines with Medicare, so you obey the guidelines, and I did. And then I went in for this 4 weeks ago, and then I had already had it 3 weeks, about, and then I went into him initially for new patient. That's it. That's the only times I've seen him. So he does. I can't blame him. Getting upset with someone because they keep saying, "Oh, you're going to get better, so I'm not going to give you this or that." Doesn't do any good to fuss. That just makes you feel worse. And pray for them, love and forgive, and then keep doing and try other avenues, which I did. So I don't really have any other avenues after the maybe the nurse will call back tomorrow. Maybe give some response from Dr. Tella, the blood cancer doctor. But I think she was zeroing in that it's a sinus thing or but I think that I'm not getting better surely is connected with my bad blood. It makes sense to me anyway, because I already had a low immune system from my very, very low lymphocytes. A year ago, they're lower than my older sister with lymphoma. Mine were lower than hers, but she's in remission. But still, so I knew I'm an easy get for infections or for illnesses. And also, since I'm a hermit, I haven't built up much immunity. So these are just parts of things that you contend with when you're sick, and in trying to lean on God always with it. And if you have other things going on and you're old, we have to consider our end time. The four last things, the five. The fifth one is our bodies, and when there'll come the time that we're not going to get better. So, but we don't know, and you can't assume. So we have to keep trying to overcome with the temporal means we have. So I don't know what this little video's about really, other than the ideas of asking for a miraculous healing of a otherwise would have been an ordinary sinus or upper respiratory infection. Something that maybe we don't think about enough. Even if we have the flu or other things happen, to ask Jesus or ask whoever might want to show up for us, get a broken leg or have surgery. I didn't think of it with my knee until after it was a failure, to ask for a miraculous healing of it. That wasn't to be. But I think in ordinary illnesses, why not ask? Even if it's not critical, a critical illness or something that's could have you die or seriously ill, why not ask if you could get better sooner? And children too, something children could be taught, that in faith, all these saints out there, holy souls, they don't have to be canonized saints, loved ones on the other side, grandparents, great-grandparents, ask them, could you give me a hand here, a healing hand, provide a miracle through Jesus for me, so I could go back to school sooner, or get back to playing on the team, or I just hadn't thought of it in that way, of asking. Ask and ye shall receive, and include Jesus in it, very much so, and the Virgin Mary with her graces that she wants to dispense. So God bless you all. God love you all. And thanks for putting up with my illnesses going on here now. Grateful to you all. Good night.